Hey everyone, welcome to I Totally Love It. My name is Susan, and today is August the 1st, and it is time to reveal our Junk Journal Madness guest collaborator and figure out what the theme will be and how many things we need to make and how many materials we need to use. All right, so as you're seeing this, August the 1st is my first day back at work, so wish me luck this year. It'll be year 29. All right, so before we do all the reveal, let's catch everyone up who is not familiar with Junk Journal Madness, and because I have a lot of new subscribers, and welcome to the channel. It's a monthly journal making collab where we have a theme and we have to put a certain number of materials in there, different materials, and a certain number of items to make tags, pockets, flip outs, all that kind of stuff. And I have guest collaborators, and they give me 6 or more themes, and I'll spin the wheel here in a little bit, and we'll figure out what the theme will be, and we'll spend the month making that. Typically, those who are YouTubers who participate tend to make somewhere, I would say, between 3 to 4 videos, and do their intro and their final flip through, and in between they have some ephemera videos or some, making the signatures or that kind of stuff. So if you are a YouTuber, we'd love for you to play along. If you're not, I do have a Facebook group. Junk Journal Madness is the name. It'll be linked below. You're welcome to share over there. I'm also on Instagram, and if you're an Instagrammer, you're welcome to tag me, and I truly love it over there as well. All right, so let's do a little recap on since we've been doing this since April of 2024. I have my little cards here that I have from every month. The first 2 months, April and May of last year, I was the host because I, at the time, didn't imagine having someone else doing it with me. And so the very first one, the theme was recipes, just a recipe journal. And I think Trish was from Crafting Whimsy was the only one who participated with me. I think she made tacos. Was it a taco recipe journal or was Mexican food maybe? I want to say it was a lot of tacos in there. um, and then in May it was Fancy Tea Party, and that was kind of I would I don't know. I'm not even gonna talk about it. All right, and then June 2024, I had my first guest collaborator, who was Amber from Night Owl Collage. And in July of last year, she had some family emergencies, and I haven't really seen a lot from her lately, so I hope she's doing all right. But the theme was black and white art slash photography slash writing. And whenever it's a slash, you can do, you know, your choice of those. I know I did black and white writing. I think is what I did. All right, and then July of last year was Teresa Conway Hayes, and we did vintage Victorian. In fact, I'm using that one this year for my 4 challenges that are put on by Lori and Enchanted Dream 71. And then August 2024 was Brittany Linger from Blinger Creations. We did flowers and butterflies. And then I had Steph, who is an Instagrammer. She is Busy Beehive Creative, and we did vintage sewing. That was fun. Tracy in October from Lottie's Magic Attic. We did steampunk Halloween. That was getting Susan out of her comfort zone. I've never done Halloween or steampunk at the time. And then in November, because we just go February to November, November was Kathleen from Creative Solace Studios, and we did a cornucopia of gratitude, so it was perfectly timed. All right, then we picked it back up in February of this year, and Trish from Crafting Whimsy chose Forest Woodland. Well, from her choices, Forest Woodland. Stacy from Crafty Dragon Creations. Back in March, we did Irish, Scottish, or Celtic. Jen from Scrapbooks and Memories. In April, we did Roses and Neutrals. Tammy from Lou Frou Frou Studios. In May, we did Grungy. That was fun. That was kind of getting me out of my normal. And anyways, and then June was I was the guest collaborator because it was my birthday month, and we ended up doing leftovers, remnants, and mashup, which was great because I had a lot of leftovers from all of those projects. And then in July here, finishing up. I'm recording this at the end of July. Was creating with Jovi, and our theme was Disney, princess, fairy tales, or unicorns, or any combination of those four. All right, so now that you've heard what our themes were and who our guest collaborators were, on the cards there was also written some numbers. And all right, this is linked below. I did not mention that. It's also in my coffee shop, which is linked below. It's a freebie. It's not been updated since the end of May, but it's a Google Doc below. You don't have to print these out. You can just view it, and then if you want to write down a list, but when you don't even need to print the first 2 pages. You can just print the last 2 pages. I know it says page 2 and 3, but technically it's 3 and 4. The ones with the blue and the green bar. So we're going to roll a die after we figure out the theme, and we're going to figure out how many different materials. You don't have to use just what's on here. This is just a list to help you, because I sometimes forget that I have, wrapping paper. And so when I'm looking up here, I'm kind of stumped. I'm like, what else could I use? That's what this is for. And it's also helpful to help keep track of things you've used to meet that, minimum number. And most of us go over that number. So yeah, but if you have other things that are not on here, feel free to use them. And if you see something missing, let me know. I'll add it. All right, and then the last page where it's green at the top says items to make. We'll roll the die again, and we'll have the number of items that we need to make for this journal. And this is, once again, these are ideas just to help you, because sometimes I get stuck. Like, okay, I've already made a regular tag. Let's make some different kinds of tags, Not to say I can't make 5 regular tags, but let me try to make a tag with a pocket, or a tag with a belly band, or let me make an envelope. And then we have all kinds of envelopes. So this is just to help you. You're not glued to these items as long as you're making, whatever. If we roll a 10, you're making 10 different items. And most of us, are able to get those made, because that's just the minimum number. Most of us tend to go over that. All right. So now let's reveal who our guest collaborator is for the month of August for 2025. And for the first time ever, this will be a repeat guest collaborator. Any guesses? All right, drum roll. Okay. The guest collaborator here. I'm gonna use a borrowed card here. My guest collaborator is Teresa Conway Hayes. So she was my guest collaborator in 2024 in July. We made a vintage Victorian. I must have made some sort of comment to Teresa, and I don't remember what it was. So this time, since she signed on to do it, she's been into some deep thinking about her themes. All right, guys. Here we go. We've got planning in neutrals and collage, diary of an English nurse, children's botanical prose, medieval fresco and botanics, church architecture in the country, language of entomology and grungy dragonflies, steampunk industrial grunge, vintage cooking with faith. All right, which one are you choosing? I'm about to put them in the wheel and spin and figure out which one we're all making. All right, so hang tight. Let me switch to the computer. All right, you guys. So I just put the first word in for each of those, but it landed on vintage cooking with faith. So, all right, let's get those recipes out. Another, maybe even you have some ads for different household appliances and stuff. That would be kind of cool. All right, so now we need to roll for materials and make. So I'm going to roll. I have a 12-sided die, And the rule is if it lands on 5 or lower, we're going to add whatever is on this die to it. And I do reserve the right to just re-roll it all. All right, so first for the number of materials. So these are the different, types of papers and envelopes and fabrics and ribbons and whatnot. All right, it's 10. All right, so 10 different materials. All right, let's do the same for the number of makes. And these are the items you make, like tags and pockets and things. All right, and that is a 6. Okay, that should be easy. All right, so we're going to make a vintage cooking with faith journal. You're going to use 10 different materials and make 6 different things. And as always, I challenge you to try to do something you haven't done before. It doesn't have to be a type of journal you haven't done before, but maybe something in your journal, one of your makes is something new. Like I still haven't made a shaker card. Not sure I'm going to do it for this for this journal, but that's just an example. And you don't have to do that. That's just an added, challenge to you to try to, as you make your journals, try to widen your scope of things that you can make. And maybe you make one and you decide, well, I like making that. All right, so there we go. It's official. So Teresa Conway Hayes is our guest. Our theme is vintage cooking with faith. And by that point, my hand was tired of writing, so I made some errors. And we're going to use 10 different materials and make 6 different items. All right, guys, so let's go get to making. And we would love for more of you to join in. I feel like every month we get a couple more participants, so that's always exciting. All right, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Go check out Teresa's channel. She's linked below, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, bye-bye.